Kia ora tātou, mihi ki te mininga, mihi kia tātou ki te tēpū, o te tēpū I runga te hui a tāta. Heoi, kino e tātou, he hōnore, he kororia ki te atua, he mau ngā runga, ki runga te whenua, he whakaro pai ki ngā tangata katoa. Mene. Tēnei te tuku mihi kia tātou katoa, kua huhi mai nei. Big mihi to our panel here today. This is going to be an exciting one. And to friends and whānau watching at home. As Danny and I always say, please feel free to drop any comments or questions in that you'd like us to ask these rangatahi. We've got them for an hour and let's get some good kōrero from them. Heoi, ai mua I ngā kaupapa kōrero ka tukuna te rākau kia mātou manuhiri tēnei wā. Nā reira, hoatu te rākau kia koe Bobbie. I'll hand over to Bobs to mihi to the meninga ko wai koe e hoa.
Kia ora, ko Bobbie toku ingoa, ko tūhoi me te aroa o ke iwi, o te kura tuaroa o Waihora tuku kura no o Tatahi ahau. Kia ora, I'm Bobbie. I am from Lincoln High School and I play in Waihora Taniwha and Matua Tihirangi is my coach. Kia ora.
Miharo. Whiua kia koe Quin. Quin, tell us about yourself and what?
Ko Quin toku unga no Heretanga hau. I played KIORAHI all through my life, pretty much, like since I was little, and I used to play for Tihirangi High School before moving to Lindisfarne. That's where I am now.
Miharo. Kōrua ki tūpoko te ika, ko wai kōrua.
Ko Reihana tōku ingoa. I tēnei ko Kahukura tōku ingoa. Huri maua no te tairawhiti, Ngāti Porou te aitanga mahaki. Ka hare maua ki te Kura Matua Wainuiomata, ki konei. Tēnā tātou.
Miharo kōrua. Me taku parata, tēnā koe e hoa Danny.
Ai, kia ora koutou. Pai ki te kiti a koutou I tēnei wā.
Rawe, so me peke tātou ki te puna, let's jump straight into it with our rangatahi. So just to start off with, let's have a kōrero about those early experiences for you guys getting into KIORAHI. When did you first start playing? Who got you into it? So we'll just start like right there, and I'll hand it over to Quin just to start because he's on the leftmost side of my screen anyway. So when did you start playing KIORAHI and who got you into KIORAHI?
I started probably around 6 years old, and Dad just used to chuck me on the field and play with all the teenagers then. I used to get carved up, but I was just learning at that time for me. But I started real young and I played all through the years up and started playing nationals at year 9. Came in for Tihirangi High School and year 10 the same. And then before moving to Lindisfarne, because unfortunately nationals was cancelled in my year 11 year, I think. Yeah.
Rawe. And there's a kōrero, there's a bit of whakapapa, a bit of hitori ki Wanganui I ahau me tō papa Quin there. There's a bit of a story there. We keep seeing these cats at Nats, and someone's got to look at those who makes those pools, but that's all good. Bobbie, when did you start playing KIORAHI and who got you into it?
I started playing in year 9, so when I was 12, and I trialled for Nats when I was 12, and then I went up to Nats in year 10. I'd say that the whare and my kura just to it was just kind of like a normal thing. If you were a Māori kid in the whare, you just did KIORAHI too. So I just did that. And yeah, and then sadly Nats was cancelled in year 11 and now in my year 13 year. But hey, I mean, yeah, but that's it.
Miharo. Well, not miharo, the cancelling of Nats. That's not miharo. Kōrua, ki te upoko e te ika. When did you guys first start playing KIORAHI and who got you into the sport, into the tākaro?
I started playing around like year 6 in Pukea primary. It was like, to me, it was just like a little game you could just play when you're like for fun. But then got to high school, year 9, and then, you know, that's when we all like started taking it seriously. Went up to nationals, played a bit, not much though. And then this year, Matariki KIORAHI. I'm year 10 at the moment, so second year in high school. Yeah, I was pretty happy just, you know, playing in that.
Oh yeah, same for me. I started around the same time as him, back all the way in primary school. It's because they introduced us to KIORAHI. Every Wednesday afternoon we would go play. You know, we were just kids. We would just muck around, have fun. But as soon as we reached high school again, we went to a junior regional competition, and yeah, we got smoked. But it wasn't until our first nationals where we just went up to get experience, like learn from other teams. So I guess that's what you could say is where we really started playing KIORAHI. And then yeah, now we just keep trying to improve, and here we are today.
Rawe tērā. So when you're on tournament day now as in your as seniors or you know, year 10 of Haikura, what's tournament day like for you? What when you wake up in the morning, what's up? What are you feeling? What are you getting ready? What's on your mind? And how do you approach tournament day? So have a kōrero to us a little bit about that, because for the last couple of kōrero, you've just got the old heads talking about what it's like to be on the coaching side, but you know, let the mininga know what it's like, you know, as a player when you got to get out after all those weeks of training, and you're looking at your opponents and turning up. Talk to us about just some of those feelings, if it's either a regionals or a national tournament. Maybe I'll flip back to you, Quin. What's tournament day been like? Has it changed since you've been going to these competitions? Just describe the day to us.
So tournament, yeah, there's a lot of rule changes, especially recently. So it's like when you come into tournament, you gotta like know the rules and regulations, because we can like messes up if you want to do well. So you can mess up some of the plays or new ways to score points, etc. You know, all that stuff. But yeah, it's that's good changes though. It's good changes, and I think they should keep KIORAHI how it is. It's good and it's fun, and I enjoy it. So pretty much me.
And I was still going to stay on Quin too. When you turn up to Nats, who are you looking out for? When you see the pools come out, who are you looking for?
Well, if I want a good matchup, I know Lincoln's always a good matchup. Always bring the battle. Datapuai, always they're always on, and Raks, Pakamanga, they've been a top team for quite a while, except and Datapuai, they're just those two at the top there.
Yeah, about time someone else try to get up to the Tihi o Te Rauna there.
Yeah, Quin, I've got a quick question. You've been playing national since you're year 9. That's right, eh? How have your nerves changed? Were you nervous in year 9 and 10 coming and playing against senior students?
Yeah, because I was a little fella. Still am little, but it's just little fella coming in gets all these big fellas. But no, they were quite nice to me during the games when my younger ones. But in the older years, I feel like I get nervous, especially in my new team, because it's just it's a team I got to do a little bit of coaching in. So it was like I hated when we lost, but TK days it was a little bit different.
Yeah,
enjoying the game.
Yeah, I remember I was playing you. What year were you in Gisborne? What year was that?
Year 9.
You were year 9 then.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So we played against Te Kuiti, when he was, you know, and he carved us. It was quite a close game. He was the one we had our eyes on. You know, he was the smallest on the field by far, and we were just trying to stop him from doing a bit of damage. So when I seen him at nationals last year, I was happy that he was still, it moved, but he was still playing. And it's cool to hear, Quinn, that, you know, you took on that leadership role because Lindisfarne wouldn't have played too much KIORAHI before you.
Oh, no one had played KIORAHI. It was just me and the old man, and Dad just decided to have a trial at school, and no, we just got all the boys that wanted to play, and teamed up with Napier girls who were all keen to play, so it just worked out perfectly, pretty much. That's
cool. And what's the buzz like around KIORAHI at Lindisfarne now?
Oh, all the boys still want to play. It's just the usual, and we started doing it at the younger levels, and the younger levels, so there's only a couple. It's not really a priority at Lindisfarne, so but we're still getting a couple young fellas that want to play in it. That's still good in itself, I guess.
Yeah, choice. You still be involved once you leave Kura?
Oh, I'll try to definitely try get my own team going. Never know.
Choice. Awesome, Quinn.
Kia koe, Bobbie. What's tournament day like for you, whether it's regionals or nats? And if you do get nervous, how do you deal with the nerves, being a captain also of our team?
For regionals, it's just all about hype. Like even for nats, like just getting the whole team hyped up, and just so we can battle those nerves. And I was really nervous when we played for the first time for regionals in year 9, because I was way smaller than everyone else, and I had only been the only I played before that was the trial, and I was probably quick, and that's probably why I was there. But that was very nerve-wracking, and then afterwards we kind of just like did more training and more practice, and then it just became easier. And now I don't really get nervous anymore because I just we barely get any moments of KIORAHI into Waipounamu, and I like to be able to cherish those moments that we do get it, and the kaupapa and all that is, yeah, it's awesome. And then at Nats, it's such a cool vibe to be up there with all the North Island teams, and actually really hearty competition from pretty much all the teams, and not play the same people over and over. So that's what I love about it, and just the whanaunga and the kōrero Māori, which is, yeah, it's just a whole different dynamic, and I just love that vibe. So yeah, I don't really have nerves because I just enjoy the whole kaupapa so much.
Riharo, kōrua ki te upoko te ika. Do you feel the same way, or how do you guys deal with those on the tournament day buzz? Do you use it, or can it get on top of you at times?
Well, I treat like the morning like a normal day. You just like, you know, get ready, but then like when you're heading towards the tournament, that's when I agree with Bobbie. You like try to get your team hyped up in that, play some music, like all of that stuff. That really like helps with like all the boys' nerves in that. Nah, it's pretty much what he said. Just try to eliminate those nerves before they even get there. And if they do come, just calm everyone down, get them ready, and you know, we're just all here to have fun, of course, win. But you know, it's a team sport. We just want to have a good time.
So if I stay with you two boys, do you two play any other sports?
Yeah. I recently got back into rugby. Finished playing basketball, and hopefully trying to get back in the touch as well. And yeah, ages ago I used to play rugby, a little bit of hockey, and then most recently I was playing basketball.
Just from your experience in those other sports, do you think a particular one of those sports, you know, they lend themselves better to KIORAHI than one of the other sports you play, or do you just pull some of the skills from all of your sports into KIORAHI and you utilize sort of all of those experiences you gather in those other sports?
Yeah, like with KIORAHI, I would use like passes such as like, you know, rugby passes to like quickly get to my teammates. Like obviously like with all the other sports in that helps you with positioning, with your hands, just like knowing like what to do at certain situations and like many more stuff.
And I think that's what makes KIORAHI like such a great sport, that no matter what sport you've played in the past, any aspect of that can come into KIORAHI. For example, what he said with rugby passes, then yeah, it makes it easier to get into as well.
And what strategies do you use?
No, I can't about that.
Hook us up a strategy. Hook us up a strategy from Papa. Real
Like
quick.
you just want to like stay on the outline and let them score points.
Ah, yeah, that's sweet. Yeah,
It's a pretty good one.
got you. Stay on the outline. Bobbie, I know you play netball and you've played touch, and I would dare say that KIORAHI's number one for you now in terms of the sports you play, and you play basketball as well. Which one of those sports do you think you pull the most skills from, or do you think you pull equally from all to help your KIORAHI game?
Yeah, I'd say the KIORAHI is probably number one. As in for competitiveness, yeah, probably for fun too. But I pull the most from touch, pretty much, because I don't like to score. I like to set up the plays. I think I use that in touch a lot, because I play link. So like hitting those draw and pass, whatever, all that kind of stuff is really helpful, and like touch pass, rugby pass, all that kind of stuff. That stuff is all really important too. Yeah.
Kia ora. Quin, what are some of the other sports that you play, e hoa, and how do you draw on some of those skills and strategies to help your KIORAHI game?
Well, I play rugby, but I used to play touch and a bit of playing football at the moment, just for my team. All that stuff. I mostly pull the rugby moves out, the steps, the hands, and the jumping as well. I don't know, a little bit of all of that mixed into KIORAHI, but it's all those sports. It's like a mixture of all, and I fully agree with everyone. This is the fuzzy game because you use everything, not just one particular skill.
Quin, where do you, if you reflect now back when you first started playing, and we asked this of the raukura, the levers as well, where KIORAHI was back then to currently, even though we missed out this year, but what have you seen in terms of growth, or even just changes, or schools, or competition styles? What have you noticed in terms of the growth of KIORAHI?
Well, the growth, I feel like it's a harder competition than it was. There's definitely a lot more people playing it and a lot more competitive spirit. And it's good to see. It makes it a lot harder on the field, and I mean, it's quite tense. When you have tense games, it's just the game you want to be in, pretty much.
True. And Bobs, what have you noticed? What is some of maybe the important changes you've seen since you played way back in Here Taunga when it was held in Napier Hastings to the most recent one we attended at Waitangi? Any notices and changes that you've seen?
I've noticed that there's a lot more people playing it now, and it's more normalized. And the rule changes definitely changed. And then coming from Te Waipanamu, where we play with the tiny as Horoto, to then going up to Nats and playing with the big as one, that is like the biggest change because it's a completely different game. And then we went from touch to ripper, stuff like that. Yeah, it's kind of a completely different game to when I started in year 9, and I like it a lot, like way more now. It's like way more strategy and all that that needs to be involved.
Kia ora. And korua ki te upoko te ika. Danny and I had this kōrero with coaches, and I have it with other coaches down here in Waitaha. it feels like KIORAHI might, it's not necessarily at a crossroads, but do you think the success of KIORAHI lies in the fact that it can be fluid and changing depending on the rohe? Or do you think KIORAHI should head in the direction where the rules are sort of the same wherever you go? What are your thoughts on that aspect of KIORAHI, where you know, if you come to Waitaha, it's quite a different game? Or do you think that wherever you play in Aotearoa, we should be practicing the same rules? What are your boys' thoughts down there at Wainuiomata?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because we typically have like a bigger field. So when we went to the Matariki KIORAHI comp, and like when the field was like way smaller, we had to like quickly adapt to that. So it really keeps you like thinking all the time, like with all the different rules. But yeah, it's a tough one. I'm not sure when it comes to different rules.
Yeah, I think there's ups and downs, especially with us, maybe since we have a massive ass field, and then maybe, for example, you said you have a tiny roto, we use that. So if we were to verse each other, it would be little like, what do we do? But I think that's probably a bad side, but then also a good side is like you can, you know, find differences, positives, like if there's something you don't agree on, especially with tatu, like where you get the rules at the start of the game, you both work out both teams work out what they want, what they don't want, and then they can have a talk and see where everyone stands equal.
Miharo, I'll ask you this next partai, as you guys attended the Matariki comp, and I was watching the games from down here in Waitaha. How was that score off the kickoff rule going? Was that a hack? Were you able to take advantage of that, or what are your thoughts on that rule?
That probably like just ruined our whole like game plan and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely did have a big effect on like our whole game plan, especially with our defense. So our defense is called whakawehe. It's when we stay in the vicinity of the po, not goose guarding it.
I don't give too much away, Kari. I can see your dad behind the camera. If you're going like this.
But yeah, it was just a big change, and it took us some adapting to do.
I'll come back to Quin. What if you could, just thinking out loud, we're just thinking out loud here, if you could change a rule in KIORAHI, what would it be, if any? If there was a rule that you feel like, oh shoot, dang, I wish I could have got that po, even though I've got one rip off or whatever. That's how we do it in Waitaha. What would that rule be? Just thinking out loud for you, Quin.
Oh, this is a tough one. I reckon one rule change I'll do is you could throw the ball on man, that's a dumb one.
No, share those ones. Often those ones
I'll probably go double rips a point, because like double rips, they're a good one. It's just like if you got someone that's a mean double ripper and they're not very, good at, there's something else that gives them something to do, because there's people that are good rippers, but it's like, it's quite, it'll be a good way to get points, and it'll be a different skill to have.
Wow, that's a hearty one. I can see Danny nodding to that, because I like that. That's rewarding the defenders for a skillful play. Yeah,
because when everyone wants to play, they always want to play Kioma because they want to score points, and it gives other people a chance to score points if it's like a defensive side and an offensive side. I think Danny's writing that one down. Bobs, what would be a rule a Nats rule or regionals rule? What would be a rule that you would adapt or change or just throw out?
Yeah, I don't really know, but I remember in regionals one time they did like a time limit, and you couldn't just waste time in te ao or like run around. Like you had like 15 seconds for you to be able to hold the ball, and that sucked. That was like the off. Or I think in regionals where you can't, there was a point where you couldn't go in Te Roto when you didn't have any po, and then if you went out, it was straight over handover. And I think that defeats the whole purpose of defense, maintaining the ball and possession. But for Nats, I can't really think of any. Yeah, I like pretty much most of the rules. Yeah, off the top of my head.
Boys down in Wainuiomata, apart from that score from the kickoff rule, what's another one you'd like adapted, or if it was ruled another way, it would sort of work to your style of play or anything like that? Or was it just that score try off the kickoff rule that sort of you would do away with?
This is a hard question again, because I wouldn't say I'm the most creative person, but I suppose we've had it before in nationals, bonus pose. If you were to call out a name of, for example, a maunga or a character from the story of KIORAHI, you could earn potential extra points, because again, KIORAHI isn't just a sport, it's also has its tikanga and stuff, so it'll make it so people don't just focus on, the physical hakinakina side, but also on the more like talking tikanga side.
Cool. I'm glad you said that. That echoes the whakaaro, definitely, of the KIORAHI Ki Waitaha crew. So for those listening, either your peers, people in high school, kids your age, why should they play KIORAHI? Why should they choose to go to KIORAHI and not to ruggers or b-ball or touch or netball or volleyball? Why should your peers choose to play KIORAHI? There's another hard one for you, brothers.
I think just because the versatility, like as we said before, like it's a mix between multiple sports. So like you're not just getting one like thing of the game, you're getting like multiple. And then obviously if you want to start playing other sports, you already have that that knowledge of like basic stuff like passing and catching, throwing, all of that type of stuff.
Bobbie, why after now 4 and a bit, almost 5 years of playing KIORAHI, what's your words of encouragement to your peers of why they should play KIORAHI? If they like Matua, I've got ruggers training, I've got KIORAHI training, and they're going to have some words of encouragement that it's just basically going to mean that they're going to come to KIORAHI and not ruggers. What's your advice to your peers?
I think a big thing, especially for me, is the tikanga Māori, te ao Māori side to it all. Like you wouldn't even need to be in a te reo Māori class or no te reo Māori, and then you'd be in KIORAHI and you learn all this reo and tikanga. You just get real into it, and I think that's some really good knowledge to have. And like you fellas said, how it just is so versatile that you can bring all this other skills into the game, and it's just there's a lot of potential for the sport, and it can take you places now, which I think is really awesome. And there's even career pathways through it now. So I think that's a real good thing now, and it's just going to be in the future.
Ka pai. And so Quin, when you go back, to Lindisfarne, and you're trying to do some recruiting, to those juniors, as you were saying, what's your pitch to them? Why should they choose KIORAHI? What are you telling them? What are your words of encouragement?
Oh, I'm telling them to just come play first, because once you start playing, you're not going to stop. It's just it's like a natural game, and everyone loves it once they start playing it. So it brings people together, and I agree with the boys, the versatility in different sports. And I tell one of these young fellas, come improve your rugby skills. Come play some KIORAHI, you'll be fine. That's my pitch to them, pretty much. Come play.
Sure. So sounds like both Quin and Bob's are year 13s, if I'm getting that correct. And as Danny and I have talked about a lot, and as the Raukura said, you know, what next? You leave high school, and whether you go into mahi or you go to uni, how will you stay connected to KIORAHI? So how will you stay connected? You know, is there opportunity? Are there modules where you are? Is there opportunities to coach or to teach? So what are you aware of, or what would you like to see? What opportunities would you like to have in front of you when you leave, Quin, to stay engaged with KIORAHI, so you don't lose all that knowledge and stuff that you've got?
I reckon bring back the adults nationals that happened in Huntley, I think, a couple of years back. That was fun. You see everyone that's all growing up and come have a game. It would just be a cool fixture to have, I guess.
Kapai, what about you, Bobs? This is your last year at Lincoln High School, and depending on where you go, how will you stay connected to KIORAHI?
Well, in Waitaha last like season, whatever, we had like the adult module with but it was like all ages, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed that. That could be something I will probably do in the future. I played with a few people that had graduated from Lincoln, so that was cool to play with them as well, from the old OG team, and yeah, stuff like that. And there's always people that know KIORAHI to come in and teach them, especially primary schools. So there's always that opportunity. If I want that and I want to take that it's there.
Karawe. Now I know Reihana's still got a couple of years ahead of him before he kawehe I te kura. But your brother Kahukura, what year are you? And as you look towards your exit of kura, how will you stay in touch? I guess you might just be an assistant coach to Dad, I guess. What's your plans for after kura?
Right now I'm a year 12, so I've got one more year left in me for KIORAHI and school. And as I'm looking to leave school, I also still want to stay involved with KIORAHI. You know, be the group we call for the kids that leave the team as they grow up, they call them Wainuiomata. So I feel like I want to be the leader of that group. So yeah, and then eventually we want to go run the new kids through. So Wainuiomata, the people, eventually us, and against the new kids that come through the school. But then again, what Quin said, it would be pretty cool to have an adult like on nationals. So yeah, hopefully that comes back.
Any of you or players, you guys, or any of your teammates, is anyone considering doing a bit of reffing? As we know, we have a massive pool of players. If there's any consideration, how do you think we can start to develop those pathways to build some referees, just so we have a large pool of kaiwa to officiate our games? I'm hitting you with the hearty ones, but that's right, you can handle it. That was for you two boys, by the way, as well.
Thank you.
I feel like just because I know as a player, I don't mind riffing the games. I feel like it's pretty cool seeing it from like a riffing an umpire point of view. But yeah, I feel like just getting loads of players in, like just playing KIORAHI, I feel like they would like to riff the game if they ever get the chance to.
Karawe. Me koe, Quin, have you had any opportunities to ref any games? Does your kura get involved with like primary school competitions or anything like that, where you get pulled in to ref some KIORAHI?
Oh, at our local comp, we our team doesn't specifically ref, but Dad makes me do some riffing when I'm not playing. It's a hard thing riffing, I reckon. You know, especially if you're riffing a tight game, you know, don't like the verbal abuse I get sometimes. It's all right, but I'd prefer to play over riffing, to be fair.
Ka pai, ka pai. So this is another pātai for the tepu for our table of kai kōrero. When you do leave, or just currently right now, what's your most memorable moment of KIORAHI? You know, what comp was it? Who were you playing? What was the scenario for you? I actually have a moment in my head when we played you guys in 2019.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Sure, you share it. You share your memorable moment.
That game was the most tense game I've ever played. To be fair, that one was like, just get into quarters, as nerve-wracking as we get into it, you know, hype ourselves up, get into the game, and you guys were just boom, straight on us, just killed us. They were a bit like, whoa, you know, I'm going into that game. And then one of our girls just stepped up massively, and just because you just marked our boys out of the game, and we were doing everything we could to try and get past your boys, but the defense was just tight that game. We were like, whoa. But one of our girls stepped up, and I think she ended up getting about 11 or 12, and we just scraped away that day. I think just scraped away, definitely.
That was a good game.
Yeah.
And then we met you guys again, although you were wearing a different uniform in 2021. And that was another good one. And as I recall that game, there was a moment when we were taniwha, and it must have just been our first couple of shots, and we threw it, and your kaitaki straight up did the splits, and just like did a real, like a crazy ass block, did the splits on the ground, and we're like, holy hecko, he must be a footballer if he's blocking stuff like that.
He's a goalkeeper. He's he's amazing. Plays New Zealand Māoris for the goalkeeper for that, and he's just gunny as. Needs to learn how to throw though. But
snap. Yeah, and I've always, and that sort of brings to mind that that whole point of being able to bring skills in, because who's had a lot of experience blocking shots more so than a goalkeeper in football. Bobbie, what's a memorable moment for you? Tell us about, could be a high point or a low point, or just the one that stands out most that you'll carry with you when you leave Kura.
It was in one of the Nationals games. I really like playing taniwha, and I like playing defense. And there was this fella, I can't remember, breaking everyone's ankles, and I long double ripped him, and I could see the shame-o on his face, and that I will take that with me forever.
Kia ora. Kōrero Kī te upoko o te ika. Tell us about your one each of your memorable moments, whether they be at a regionals or a nats, and why that moment sticks out to you in te ao KIORAHI.
My memorable moment probably isn't going to be like some flash moment like double ripping someone that's an ankle breaker, or like what Quin said. Mine is just like at the beginning, I'd say, our first nationals, like just seeing that we're not the only ones down here that play KIORAHI, and seeing there's the whole country like so involved with the sport. So yeah, that would be my memorable moment.
Mine would be when Matariki KIORAHI comp again. Second day we ended up making it top 8. And then we ended up playing Taiatea. During that game, I ended up taking a knee to the face and being taken out of the the game and the rest of the comp. But then I remember like sitting there, like just trying to look at the scoreboard, trying to look at the game, and I can just hear like all the excitement, the team's excitement when they win the game. Like that just gives me shivers, like just thinking about it and remembering all of that.
If we think about what you guys believe to be key skills and strengths that a kioma should have, or a taniwha should have, or kaitiaki, or even within that, if you guys have worked out, you know, positions or roles within kioma or taniwha, I'll come back to you, Quin. What does a good kioma need to be successful at Nats? You know, what is it? Is it as simple as just being the quickest cat on the field, or what do you look for in a good kioma?
Speed is always good, but I reckon knowledge of the game is knowing when to go, knowing when to pass, knowing when to just go have a go, because like sometimes you may have like 5-0 and everyone's nervous to go and someone just needs to have a crack, you know, take that risk, you know, but a knowledge like that, and especially, and of I reckon kioma, you can't get the ball if you don't communicate, so that's another one for me, is communication.
What about taniwha? What makes a good taniwha?
I reckon taniwha, being an aggressive player, getting in someone's face and disrupting the ball, disrupting the way they play, you know, getting in someone's head. That's probably a good one for taniwha, because they're just annoying players to play.
That's awesome. That's awesome advice. That's mean. Bobbie, when you think of the good kioma you've played against, what is it about them that makes them threats? So what makes a good kioma in your experience?
A good kioma, it helps to be fast, like it helps to get around people, but you got to have a good gameplay, and like you got to be that point guard, and you got to set up play, and you like everyone's got to set it up at some point, and everyone's got to score. It's just about balancing it out, and having that evenness so that you can continue to score, and just like what Quinn said, communication. I think that's key, especially with captains to their team, and making sure that there's a clear direction that they need to go in.
And taniwha, would you prefer the cat that can throw a bullet at the tupu and not rip really well, or do you want someone who's solid on the rips but might not have the strongest arm or have the highest jumping ability?
Well, I reckon defense wins the game, and because you can score heaps on kioma, but then if you got weak as defense, they're just going to score heaps on you too. So a full team of strong rippers and maybe one good shooter, just because it is taniwha's technically defense, and you need to be on those rips and get in there, and just be aggressive, fully get in their zone and stuff.
Kōrua, ki Wainuiomata, what makes a good kioma? You think about your strongest kioma in your team, or that you've played against, you know, what made them so good or so difficult to guard? What makes a good kioma in your opinion?
I really like what the other two said about like experience and like not being about like being quick in that. But I feel like if you're like the quickest on the field, you're the shiftiest, you know, you can step everyone. Not only does that, you mean you can score a lot, but you'll drag a lot of the defense towards you. So also open up like a lot of your teammates. I'll just go with what he said.
You guys have some good strategy talk. I like this, Kōrero. What about taniwha? What's Dad drilling into you for taniwha? What makes a good taniwha in your experience? Again,
with what Bobbie said, just a great defender is always priority. But I'm just going to give a kaitiaki perspective. When I see one guy with a rocket of an arm jumping up to throw at me, like, it's scary standing in front of it. So when a taniwha has a rocket of an arm, you know, that's scary. So yeah.
And for me, I'd probably be the same as kioma. If you're like quick enough to guard the fastest guy in their team, you can shut down their like whole offense. Like even especially if they're like their like best player, they rely on them. And if not, then you can quickly like run out to like help another teammate if someone runs in and tries to score on them.
Kapai, I got a fun little question that I've been dying to ask. So it's sort of it's KIORAHI 2K22 is what we're playing at the moment. We're doing create a player, and you're building your player. And you have an opportunity to max out one stat for kioma. You know, what are you going to max out? You're going to max out the footwork, you're going to max out the speed, you're going to max out the acceleration, offensive awareness. Which one gets all the way 100 if you can only choose one? And I'll stay with the boys. What are your thoughts just for Kioma in this early stage? What are you maxing out for a Kioma?
I really like this question because I'm a big 2K fan. This is a difficult one because, like, you know, a lot of it comes down to like loads of the abilities, not just the one. But like to have one for sure, to like I reckon it would be the best would probably be, like I said, like agility, like being the shiftiest guy in your team, you know, like people not being able to keep up with you definitely like annoys the defenders and might even get in their head.
Yeah, I guess also it depends on how you play, because depending on your play style, you might need a different stat to compensate for that. But in general, what I've seen in nationals is just Kioma just fast, and they just jump for the try line fast. And yeah, so I guess that one stat would just have to be speed.
Sure. Miharo Tera. Bobbie, I know you play a lot of 2K22. She doesn't.
No, I actually do.
Oh, okay. What stat for a Kioma are you going to max out?
I'm gonna go with offensive awareness, because if you got one fast guy in your team and they got real good defense, they're gonna shut that down. And to have offensive awareness, you can include the team in your in scoring tries, because it can't just be all relied on one person. You need to be able to pass the ball and hit those assists and actually include the team in the play, I reckon.
Ka rawe. Whiua ki a koe, Quin, hand over to you in your my player, in your creator. And what stat are you going to max out for Kioma?
I'll go for Kioma, like 99 or 100 vertical, because I reckon just like jumping up so high, grabbing the ball and just scoring.
True.
I was just like, man, there'd just be a like overpowered stat. And then for Taniwha, I reckon passing, because just if you can pass between each other, it just makes hitting the tupu so easy.
Me pehe o whakaro, Danny. You don't have to give away too much, but you know, if you could max out a stat for Kioma and or Taniwha, which stat would that be? E hoa?
That's a hard one. I like everyone's thoughts. Like speed's the obvious one. Speed's a real obvious one, but I did like what Quin said earlier about knowledge. So if there's like an understanding of the game, because you don't even have to be fast. You know, you have to just realize that there's an opportunity to score. You just want to see it, so you want to have that knowledge and vision to be able to see it, and you could go in yourself. It's not a long way to run. Speed does help to score, but just someone who's quite knowledgeable. And then if I was a kaitiaki player, I'd probably just go with a calmness. I've seen Kahukura block, and I've heard him talk tonight, and it's very calm, composed. And he's like that when I watch him play kaitiaki too. Very, very calm and relaxed, and can calm the rest of his team down if they're getting a bit too excited on the outside. So yeah, that'll be a cool step as a kaitiaki, because you have to be calm. Like if you've just had all these jump shots coming at you and sort of working you up, and then your next task is to throw the ball out. If you're a bit frustrated, if you're a bit upset at them, then it's likely to go out, or it's likely to get intercepted. So that calmness as a kaitiaki is one. And then Taniwha, yeah, I agree with everyone that's been speaking. Aggression, just if there was a aggression setting, right up to 100. That's what I'd love.
Miharo. So we'll come back to Bob's, and you can max out your Taniwha stat, and then I'll ask a follow-up question which is how has KIORAHI impacted your time as a student at school? You know, specifically for us, it's the Kura-Auraki, a mainstream school in Canterbury, Lincoln, which is a school of nearly 1,300 kids, and 10% are Pākehā at our kura. So yeah, Pātai Tuatahi, first question, what stat would you max out on Taniwha, and then tell us a little bit about how KIORAHI has impacted your journey as a student at school?
It's first 10% Māori, not Pākehā. But yeah. But I max out for Taniwha. I max out rip handles. Because yeah, just getting in there, and then I think that also helps with the aggression and the hype. If you're getting double rips and more double rips, that just like fully hypes you up, and that fuels your aggression, and then KIORAHI has helped me as a student to connect like hākinakina and te ao Māori together, which I've never ever experienced until I came to high school. And being able to have experienced te ao Māori and kapahaka and field, it's awesome, because that's, yeah, sports is like everything to a lot of people. And it's helped me as a student to, because now I can teach other people it, I can ref, I can lead in the sport. It's helped me to balance all of the areas of my te whare tapawha, and help me with my leadership, and help me.
Ka pai. Quin, kia koe e hoa, how has KIORAHI impacted your journey as a student now in your final year? And if you were to imagine, you know, your schooling without KIORAHI, what has it done for you as a student in Aotearoa to be part of KIORAHI?
Oh, it's just whenever we go to nationals, it's always just a fun break, time to relax and just kick back and play. And but it's also, you know, the friends that played KIORAHI, they're probably my closest mates. You know, we play other sports, but the ones that came on that KIORAHI trip, we're tight like, tight like that, you know, best mates. And it's just done a lot for me going out of school, but probably having that out of school and not playing, or probably might get rusty. Well, I don't want that to happen, but nah, I reckon a couple games and I'll be away. So just want to keep playing, really.
Well, hopefully, you know, people in each of our different areas can create these pathways and opportunities, and it's happening. You just gotta, I guess, you gotta get in touch with the right person. And Danny and I, Danny probably more so than me, has you know, good connections to be able to continue on out of the school. He oi, will hoki atu ki ngā parata ki Wainuiomata. Yeah, first one, max out a stat on Taniwha, and then tell us about the impact that KIORAHI has had on your journey as a student in high school.
I would probably max out either like agility or ripping for Taniwha, because either you can keep up with your defender, or, as you know, like the moment that you're with them, you can just rip them, so then you don't have to, you know, keep chasing them.
Yeah, what he said was a good answer, but just for my sake, if a Taniwha had 99 throwing, I'm gonna be scared. So if I was going up against that, that'd probably be the stat I'll max out.
And for like how it's been a part, like KIORAHI, like in my journey at Kura, I mean, when like KIORAHI like practices like come back, and that, like, me and the boys all get excited, like we're all happy that it's back. And it's also become like a part of our curriculum, like a part of the school subject in that. So I'm very like happy that that's a thing. So then we can obviously learn the tikanga, do all the like, you know, tikanga side kawa side of and like also play it just like during a class and to learn and all of that.
Yeah, so like what you said again, rock up to class and our assignment is play a KIORAHI match, earning credits while having fun, solid. But then also at the end of the week on Friday, straight after school, we'll have a KIORAHI training. So just a good way to end the week, have fun with each other, and then go chill on the weekends.
Miharo koutou mā. We're just about ki te mutunga o te kōrero nei. And so before we do, because we know we have, you know, whānau or hoa mahi, whanaunga, te mea, you know, you have people watching at home who may be experienced or may not be. What are your final kupu, your final bits of kōrero in terms of, you know, what kīorahi means to you and what it could mean to others, and why they should get involved with this tākaro? And we'll start with you, Bobs. So yeah, what's just your final kōrero for the people watching?
Probably that at the end of the day, KIORAHI is a game, and it can help you build connections, whakawhanaungatanga, like in Waitaha, all the schools, they know who's up and who's there to beat. Can we have that whānau? And to me, KIORAHI just means whānau, because it's, yeah, like just where I've made my closest friends now. The team is a whānau, with Wainuiomata and with fire and just all the whānau. It's a real good vibe.
Miharo. Me koe, Quin, for those watching, what's your final kupu? What's your the key message that you'd like to send out with regards to KIORAHI and the joy of playing?
Similar to Bobbie's, and the connections, the relationships you make, and you know, you're playing top level stuff. I reckon it's a top level sport in New Zealand, and I think it'll stay like that. And it's just the friends, the trips, the chill time. This is fun. I enjoy it. I think everyone that plays it enjoys it as well.
Miharo e nei kōrero. Kōrua Kahukura Reihana, what's your final bit of kupu? What's your final kōrero to those watching? Just to sum up you and your relationship with KIORAHI, and perhaps what they could also experience if they wanted to get into it.
I just want to give a quick mihi and thanks to our Whaiafi from Mana College and Matua Simon from Taira. They really like helped like us improve us as a team from Wainui, improve as a KIORAHI team. And to get convince people to like come play KIORAHI and like all of that, and what they're missing out is like definitely the trips. I heard someone say that, yeah, the trips are like a huge part of it. Really fun.
Yeah, it's like be able to travel around the country and then do something we all love. It's just a great experience. So yeah, and for those that haven't tried KIORAHI, just go give it a shot. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Too much. Ka pai. Whiua ki a koe, Danny, what are your final sort of thoughts that you've captured, or sort of the cool key messages you've heard from our rangatahi in this kōrero?
I was really impressed. Yeah, just a big mihi to all of you, our guests, our rangatahi. You all spoke very well. I was thinking to myself as you answered, all of you answered, I was like, man, I'd love to coach this boy, or I'd love to coach Bobbie. Like when Bobbie, you spoke about almost taking a boy's mana from a double tag. That's beautiful. I love that kind of talk. And when I heard all three of you boys speak, you sound like you've had your mana taken from a girl double tag before. You all spoke very humbly. He's all spoke very humbly, which is one of the reasons why I do love KIORAHI. Sometimes, you know, I grew up playing league and stuff, and when you're around a whole bunch of boys, it's a certain kind of energy. And then KIORAHI, it's a lot more balanced. You got your boys, you got your girls there, and you got to learn how to interact a bit more appropriately, a bit more maturely, and you know, respect from that respect from one another that you give. You sort of take that into the games as well, and I think that contributes to building greater relationships, like everyone spoke about. So yeah, I was really impressed with your answers. I think it's a huge well, we've got to give a huge mihi to your coaches for preparing you the way they've prepared you, because you all spoke really well, but you spoke with a lot of knowledge and experience. So I know our boys, your fathers coach or have coached you, so yeah, you're very fortunate to have them. And maybe sometimes you feel you're unfortunate, but yeah, you're blessed to have them in your life. And Bobbie, I think, you know, Matua Tihi's been an awesome influence for you, and yeah, you guys are very lucky to have such good coaches. Yeah, I enjoy this. Tihi, again, bro, you did an awesome job firing off all those questions, bro. So thank you very much for your mahi. Kia ora koutou.
Karawe, well, kua taunga kōrero mo te wā. That sounds like the kōrero has been wrapped up quite nicely by my bro Danny, and can only but tautoko his kōrero in regards to what an awesome panel you guys were, sharing your thoughts and experiences, and in a very honest and beautiful way, and it really it hit the goals I had for this kōrero, which was just to show how onto it the rangatahi are who play KIORAHI, and the minds they have for it. And then what also comes through is you know, part of that reason why we play, which is it exists in te ao Māori, and you have all of that woven through it, and then that whanaungatanga aspect is always there. And as Danny alluded to, you know, it's the beauty of having te ira tāne me te ira wahine, you know, having been a mixed sport. You know, might be only one of 2 or 3 mixed sports that you can play at national level. Heoi, yeah, just a massive mihi to all of you guys for giving up an hour and a bit of your Monday night. Won't be the last rangatahi panel we have, that's for sure. So yeah, mihi to you, Quin, to Kahukura, Raua ko Reihana, Bobbie Hoki, and Taku Parata, Danny, for our kōrero tonight. And mehe mea, kare he kupu, if that's us, we'll wrap it up. Danny, no further kōrero?
I just had one thought, bro, on top of what I mentioned about all their parents or their awesome kaiako. They did, the Rangatahi did speak about into the future, you know, things. And I know especially for the boys, their dad, Mātauranga, plays a massive role in exposing KIORAHI to them, driving them all around the country, or, you know, searching out options and stuff like that for them. So very fortunate. It might, that more and more opportunities are likely to come, but if you guys are ever in a position to find opportunities for people like Quin talked about, just grabbing his mates and calling them in, and just do it. If you've finished kura this year, and whatever you're going on to, if there's a time for you to, and you want to explore more KIORAHI, you can let any of us know. We can help you out. We teach, you know, there's different organizations now going into primary, intermediate, high schools teaching KIORAHI, and my whakaaro is the best people to do it are the ones that have played at nationals, have done a bit of refereeing, have seen the coaching side of things too. So that's always an opportunity. If you guys are ever interested, you might be able to start something like that in your rohe or thereabouts. So yeah, kia ora koutou.
And just before we do wrap up, ki te karakia, I cannot leave without plugging our first Te Waipounamu KIORAHI comp happening in the second week of the holidays, which is 12th to the 14th of October. And so this is really, hopefully, some of the crew down in here in Te Waipounamu who we have, those in those regions we haven't been able to break into solidly yet, that it's as simple as reaching out and connecting up with myself or one of the other KIORAHI Kī Waitaha crew, or even just Danny or I, and we can make it happen. So yeah, man, we want to make this as big as possible, because this will be a huge step in growing KIORAHI down here in the South Island, because we actually play KIORAHI down here in the South Island. I don't know if you guys know that, having about 10 nats before one team from the South Island gets up there. That's all good. But yeah, if you're listening and you don't know who to talk to, ko Daddy hoki etahi tangata mōu. So yeah, please get in touch. It's our second week of the holidays. Heoi, ko paukatuanga kōrero, ka hoki atu mātou ki te kura a pōpō, except for Danny. Rest of us got to go back to school tomorrow. It's a school night. Nō reira, huri noi te whare, i te whare pukamata hoki, ino tātou unuhia ki te uru tapu nui, kia wātea, kia māma, te ngākau, te tinana, te wairua, i te ara tangata, koiera, e rongo whakaari ake kurunga, tūturu whakamaua kia tīna, haumie, huie, tai ki e. Kia ora tātou.